Last week, we concluded with an amazing story with Moshe Galanti, how he respected, feared the name of Hashem, Yitkai Vuvkai. With that koyach, he was able to have the koyach of the B'chnina ben Doise, Chai, the opposite. So I would like to continue in lieu of the story that we mentioned. We already discussed this once before, but a little more information, since that's the main, the Ikke Zach, and we daven to have in mind the proper kavunis in the Shemus Hashem. The Shem Hashem, whenever we say Hashem, we need to say this with Yiras HaKuvod, B'kavuna, the proper kavuna, because after all we are mentioning the name of the Melech Malch HaMluch HaKudosh Baruch Hu. As it said in Shulchan Aruch in Siman Hai, Kishiyaske Hashem, when you mention the name of Hashem, Yechaven Perish Kriyusa, you have in mind the Perish of the Shem that you're mentioning. If it's the Shem Aleph Dalet Ni, it is Adon HaKoil, the Master of all. When you come to Hashem, you say Hashem Yitkai Vuvkai Hoyu Hoyu V'yeh Elikim Takiv Bala Yechoilis Bala Koiches Kilam. Hashem is the one power in the world. He is able to do anything and everything. So this lahalucha, but every time you get to the Hashem, this is what you have to have in mind. It says in Sod Shoyesh Avodah, he wrote a will to his son, and he writes, B'ni Ahivi, my beloved son, when you say the Shemus Hagdoshim of Hashem, Tzurech Udam Shkaide V'ien Temidi Ba'ais HaTfile V'Haiduas. Always, when you mention Bruchis, Haiduas to Hashem, Shlo Elohoitzi Mepiv Aiz Hashem Mishem Hagdoshim, you shouldn't mention a Shem from any Shem Hagdoshim with the Hes Chadas without Kavuna Chas V'Shulim. And he refers to what he wrote in the Sefer Yisod Shoyesh Avodah. He refers in the will what I wrote in my Sefer the Shoyesh Avodah. Over there he writes in Shah Beis Peirik Beis, K'tai lahaliv lev anushim legoidel hazhiras bezeh. In order to engulf, inflame the hearts of Yidden who mention the name of Hashem. Let me tell you a story, he writes. I'm going to bring you a story that happened with the Baal Mechaba of Sefer Zera Yitzchak. And he brings down the story. The Zera Yitzchak was not well, he became ill. And he heard in the Bezin Shamala Koil Rash Gudoil. They announced with a big voice, loud, Koil Rash Gudoil, Pani Mukim Tzaddik Echot Shenifta. Make room for this tzaddik that was nifta. And they all were makabel him with great respect, with kuvod gudel. They gave him a Sefer Torah in his hands, in his arms, and they asked him, were you makayim mashakusev b'Torah b'zeh? Were you makayim the Torah, what says in the Torah? He says, yes. Who is your witness that you were makayim everything that says in the Torah? Maluchim came. They were created from his mitzvahs that he was makayim in the Torah. Adai mispa. Can't count. That's how many maluchim came. Every mitzvah, another maluch. And they said, witness, yes, I was created from this mitzvah and I was created from the other mitzvah. B'chayin kilam. They all mentioned the mitzvahs that was created, the maluchim that they were created from those mitzvahs. Then they brought the Torah Shulchan Aruch, the Yumakayim, the Torah Shabbat Peh. Yes, Mi Mayed, the Maluchim came, the same thing. Then they asked him, Shiv Shali, Nizhar tu melohoiti shem shemaim levatula. Were you careful in not mentioning the Shem Shemaim levatula? For nothing? Vayidoim, he didn't answer. They asked him again. Yeshiv Shusak, he was quiet. He didn't say anything. V'echlizi, they announced, are there any witnesses if he mentioned ever a brucha levatula? Came groups of maluchim dressed in black. Dressed in black. And they said, witness, I was created that day when he said the name of Hashem betfillah without kavuna. And they all said the same thing. And they ripped their garments. Kol ha-bezin shalom alu. V'gam ani. The Zeritzke says, and I also ripped my garments. And they told him, Tipesicha, ayich lo yiras. Weren't afraid. V'nig medino, his gemadin was, either you go to Gehenim, or you have to go back to become the Gilgal again. And he chose, he wants to go to Gehenim, doesn't want to come back as a Gilgal. So we see from this Maisa, so the Shoresh Avodah says, how careful we must be when we mention the Shem Hashem. But the Maisa that we mentioned in the Moshe Galanti, we saw that even a Goy, an Arab, he had no idea that this is the Eden, this is our father. We are Bunim Lamukim. And Taka, for that reason, in Moshe Galanti, on the way home, he was crying. It says, Nachal Dimu. His tears were like a stream. I had to hear from the Goy, this is ours. Our Shem. So we see from this Maisa how careful we have to be. This is a person who they announced, the Kovet Gudel, they received him with great honor, but he didn't have in mind the proper kavuna when he mentioned the Shem Hashem. Question is, Musai, when do we have to have in mind the Shem Hashem? It's a machlokes. The Rebbeinu Bechayai discusses this issue. What's the issue? Do we have to mention the Shem Hashem before we say the Hashem? We have to have in mind, I'm going to say now, Yitkai Vufkai, so it's Hoyu Hoyu the year, or during or after when I said the Hashem, stop and think what you just said now. I said the Shem Hashem. When is the proper time to have this in mind? So the Bani Barachai says in Parshas Emoyer, he has a kasha. Why does the Torah mention the story of the Megaduf, the son of Shlomo Bas Divri? And it says in the Pusik, V'yaitza ben Ish Yisraelis v'yi ben Ish Mitzri, and he said the name of Hashem, and Nebuch, he said things he shouldn't have said, Vaikalai, he cursed. And he got the punishment. So the Bani Bachai asks, why was it so important for the Torah to mention this story? What limit do we learn from that? So in the second answer he says, the Bani Bachai, the Chiddush is, and I'll mention the exact words, his Lushan of the Bani Bachai. Ki mekan yizbaleluni. In this parasha becomes clear, Ike gudel ipinatzime bebruchas. It becomes clear how we have to mention the Shem Hashem bebruchas, or when we have to say it. Have in mind the Shem, the kavuna of Shem Hashem. When he cursed, first he said the Shem Hashem, and then he cursed, and he was chayv that oynish. The same thing applies when you all make a brucha. The person who makes the brucha needs to have in mind when he makes the brucha and he mentions the name of Hashem, First, Yizboinem beliboy. First, before you say the Shem B'Shem, have in mind, I'm going to say the name of Hashem. Have in mind the proper machshava. And then say the Shem. V'im zeh yikabel schuroi mishlim v'yichye chayai ad. So we see from here, when a person says the Shem Hashem with his mouth, first he should have the proper kavuna. Yishem is hoy hoy v'yiyeh. If it's Elikim, it's koy choy, as we said before, yechoilis. And what does the Rabbeinu B'chai conclude? Again, that means this is as gila. By having the proper kavuna by Hashem, the schis will be he'll have a riches yom, he'll live long. We like to look for zgilas today. Do this and do that. Simple zgilah. Davening with the proper kavuna when you say Shem Hashem. But the Rabbeinu Yoine Seifer Yire argues. He says different. He says, Nisem Hashem Lekai Hashem Echad B'Kli Yishama. All these three Shemis, Hashem Lekai Hashem Echad, the first pusik of Krishma, Yarech at Sheyachshoiv Hoyu Hoyve V'Yeh. So it seems from these words that he will have a mind, after he says the Shem Hashem, will have a mind, what I just said now, the translation of the Shem. Embassy, that's how it's brought down in Shulchan Aruch and Simbaches. Sheyechaven b'shas ha'azkura. At the time when you mention the Shem, have in mind the proper kavuna, the proper perish of that Shem Hashem when you say the Shem. Is when we see people not having the proper kavuna, they just fly through the davening and not having the kavuna when they say Hashem. It's not because they have a lack of a minna or lack of something. They just don't know. They're not mezalzel. They don't know what, where, and when. They don't know the koyach of having the proper kavuna b'Shem Hashem. So I'd like to mention a few more things to bring out the koyach of mentioning the Shem Hashem with the proper kavuna. This is in a Sefer Shara Yoiru, written by a Mekibel Rabbi Yosef Niktilya. He writes like this: Da, you should know, Ki Hashem ha'gudel ha'nichbed v'ha'noiru. Yitkai Bufkai Yizburich. This Shem Hashem includes Kol Hashemis Kilo, includes all the Shemis. Once you know this, then you need to be mizboinen and to be careful when you mention this Shem. Taidaloch, you should know. When a person mentions the Shem Hashem and his lips move when he says Hashem, the name, Oz hi marish esu oilemis lamalu lamalu. What happens in Shemayim? It's a tumult in Shemayim. Any pusher to eat just by saying the Shem Hashem. But obviously that's only if he says a proper Shem Hashem with a full kavuna. When Isoscha talks about Derech Pikedechu, there's gillis, and a person can have yeshiyas by mentioning the Shem Hashem properly. It says in the Avanachel, in Parashat Shoftim, Dei ki Shem Moshe mazkirem bepeh yesh yoise kedisha mishaymois haksivim b'Sefer Torah. These are unbelievable words. That the shame is that we say from our mouths during our brucha and davening has more kedisha than the Shemos that are written in the Torah. He says, let's picture, Amanachal says, let's picture, would a person, Chas v'shulam, rip out the Shemos from the Torah? Absolutely not. And do not respectful things with the Shemos? Chas v'shulam, he would never do that. It's not any different, he says, when a person says the Shemos properly. The Kedusha that these Shemos have, and if he doesn't do it properly, then he loses out. He says very strict words when it comes to that. The Pele Yoyetz writes, a person shouldn't say the bruches and the Tefilos just quickly gechapt. He might not be yoytze the chiv of the brucha. That means he said the Shem Hashem for nothing, Shem Hashem levatula, because he didn't say it properly. Shloach Kudosh writes in Bava Basra, the Meluchim HaKadoshim Mishortzei Elyon that serve Hashem, they don't mention the Shem Hashem until, even when they sing, they don't mention the Shem Hashem in their Zmiris HaKadoshim. Ki im becharude b'moyle gudel, with fear, b'kedisha v'tahara. They toivel themselves before they mention Shem Hashem 365 Tefilos in the river of Eisha Lehuva, fire, whatever that means. So it's not so simple. Every time they mention Shem Hashem, it's huge. I would like to conclude with an amazing, small little story from the Mama Motche, from Slonim. He brings a maise. There was a pusher to eat that went through a terrible nisoyan. A nisoyan, he says, kusha ma'oid, very difficult. And he won the nisoyan. He wasn't zgaber himself, and he didn't fall through. From that point on, he was zoiche. Wherever he mentioned the Shem Hashem, he felt in his nefesh his seromim, something very uplifting. His whole body was shaking. Every limb was, as in Yiddish, so getzitet, verpachet. He had fear. Trembled. Since he was a pusher to eat, he didn't understand what this is all about. He needed a yeshia. He thought he is not well. He couldn't take it. So he went to ask for a brucha or for yeshia from the Wolf Mishana Astra. Only it's a Tamid Bashan. Only it's a Dika Hado. He does not, I don't know what happened to me, he says. All of a sudden, I have this condition, which I can't take this. So the tzaddik told him, you were zoiche, that you were given such a special gift from Shemayim. There are many people that beg, and they may gaya. When will I zoiche to have this zechis of feeling an asromimis when I mention the name of Hashem? And you have it, you want to give it away? But I can't deal with it. So he asked this person, I'm going to learn with you. I'll teach you. You'll understand it, and you'll appreciate it. How much we could accomplish when we say the brucha, Burich Atu, Hashem. Takes 1 second longer. The Shemnesu could take another few seconds longer. And how much we could accomplish when we do that. Proper bruchas, proper Shemnesu, proper tefillah, and the accomplishments, what we could derive from that. How many maluchim are created from each and every mitzvah that we do. One thing is fine, doing mitzvahs and ma'asam tovim, maluchim are created, but now we need maluchim creation from every shem that we do properly. So let's continue. Very, very important issues, questions that was asked, and I'll go into it. Barichis, also it's important to know this before we start Shemoneh Esrei. Haluchas. We all know that it's used to be mafsik in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. Talking, even winking in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. It's used to move from one place to another place. So therefore, vimitly important to choose a place where one davens Shemoneh Esrei that he's not going to have any disturbance from that place. He won't have to get up and leave to another place. That means from the beginning to the end, he knows I'm safe. I won't have to leave. I won't have to think. I don't have the proper kavuna when I'm Shemoneh Esrei. So once he reaches to L'kai Netzor, no, it's a different story. Once he reaches to L'kai Netzor, Avada, it's also partial Shemoneh Esrei. But over there, we see in the Poskim that even for a small mitzvah, I shouldn't call it small mitzvah, certain mitzvahs, he'll be allowed to stop in the middle. Avada will say, Yil Rutzoin. Let's say, for instance, he was announced to have psicha. He'll be able to take psicha. He'll say Yil Rutzoin and go up to the Kodesh and make psicha sewud. And let's talk about this Indian, what he's allowed, what not allowed during Shemoneh Esrei. What's worse, talking, walking, if he has a choice? So let's discuss this. If it's Pekiyat Nefesh, obviously that's not our discussion. Whether he would leave the place where he is. And if to resolve the Pekiyat Nefesh is impossible just by walking, he has to talk, then let him do so. That's not our discussion. What's our discussion? Not a Pekiyat Nefesh, other things. What are the things what he might have to be mafsik? And not only that, then we'll discuss other things that he shouldn't have even got into that problem that he has to deal with it now. So, let's say he comes along Shemoneh Esrei and he has to answer Kaddish Kedisha. Yelucha says, once you start on time, once you start on time, with a tzibah, together. Now, if it takes longer, so it takes longer. We'll talk about that another time more, barichas. He has to answer Kaddish Kedisha, so he'll be quiet and he'll listen to the Kaddish and Kedisha. I may have mentioned this in the past. It's a machloikis Rashi and Toises and Bruchas Chubais, where Rashi says he'll be quiet and listen to the Kedisha, especially Kudosh and Burich, and Shamaya Koina. Listening is like answering. Toises asks, if Shamaya is Koina, that means he's talking middle of Shemoneh Esrei. It's a hefsik. So he disagrees with Rashi. And then Toises says, well, that's the mini. Toises doesn't answer. He said, that's the mini. This is what we do. There's a beautiful word from the Mezritcha Magid. The Gemara says in Kedushin, Machshuva Toivim Mitzaref Lamase. A good Machshuva, Hashem combines it as if he did it. Machshuva, a bad Machshuva, Hashem does not combine to a Masa. So he says, Machshuva Toivim. If you're in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, we say Shamaya Koina. That Machshuva we consider as if you said the Kedusha. But Machshuva Ru, to make it a hefsik in the Shemoneh Esrei, that when it comes to that, Menat Mitzaref Lamasa, as if he violated to be mafsik talking in the Shemoneh Esrei. That not. Others say that he would even be able to, when it comes to Kudosh, to lift his foot, to show that he is part of the Kedusha. The Pisha says it, and Mikivaiga quotes it in the Shulchan Aruch to show he's part of the Shemoneh Esrei. Borchi is the same thing. The Shlich Tzibah gets Tamoidim if he's in the middle of the Brucha, not in the end of a Brucha, because the end of the Brucha you cannot bow. He'll bow in the middle of the Brucha. Moidim, because how? It doesn't look right when everybody's bowing and he's not. It doesn't show that he agrees. So he bows in the middle of the Brucha, not in the end, because you're not supposed to add anything in the end. When it comes to Birchas Kahanim in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, it could happen. Person started later. About it, everybody wants to come on time to shul, but some people cannot come on time to shul. If you come on time to shul, you can save yourself so many problems, as we're discussing now. He came late, and he's in the middle of the Shtila Shemoneh Esrei, and they're saying, they're dichening, Birchas Kahanim. What should he do? So the Achronim say, yes, he would be able to be quiet and listen to the Chazonish Paskint. Even in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, he should stop and listen to the Birchas Kahanim. You could do that, yes. Again, when it comes to the kind of Tzor, after he finished Sim Shulayim, when he said the Yilrutzoin, over here he can be mafsik, not anything, Kadesh, Kedisha, Borchi, and other things that are allowed to be mafsik as a middle of Birchas Kriya Shema. And Friday night, if they start Vaychili and he's in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, he'll do the same thing. He'll be quiet. The Sha'ar Shiva brings the name of the Chedur, Mishbriya brings, the Kafachai brings it, the Ben Ish Chai, that he'll stop and listen to Vaychili. Since he's after the middle of the Kayatzah, you could do that. Ruach HaShulchan is bothered by all the things we're going to mention now. He's bothered by it. It's a hefsik, but most Achronim are masking that you could be mafsik for all these things.
What can you do by a fool afterwards when someone's saying it together with someone else? If you did say the tzibur, you finish Shemoneh Esrei late, and then it's better to say for somebody?
That was now a minute. I think the first one who mentions that witness is the Mishnah Brira, but I'm sure you didn't grow up with this.
No, I didn't.
No.
I've seen it, yeah.
I've seen it too, but
You're saying stopping and listening is good.
yeah, stopping a little. That's after the kind of to listen, not the middle of the Shemoneh Esrei.
You should say yourself?
After the kind of
After Shemoneh Esrei.
yeah, sure. After you finish Shemoneh Esrei, if you say Vaychili Shamayim, yeah, that's not a problem. If you're middle of the kind, but Shema is koine, but if you should say it yourself again. But Lamasa, we're not saying no. Let's go back. We're saying that the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, you shouldn't stop for that. So you can not do a hefsik. Only if it's Kaddish, Kedisha, Borchi, Vaychili not. By the kind of Tzor, you can even say it. Once you say the Yilrutzen, you can even say it. Yeah. If a person is called up for an aliyah, it says in the Achronim that Avada and Milah Shemoneh Esrei is not even a question. He won't be able to go up. But if you finish Shemoneh Esrei, even if he didn't start on the kind of Tzor, he should say the Pusik Yilrutzoin and go to the aliyah. Even before the kind of Tzor. He'll do the kind of Tzor afterwards. Yeah. To do a hefsik, even with remez, sign language, it's also to be mafsik and mild Shemoneh Esrei, even by remize, even by remez, except if there's something that is disturbing him. He cannot daven. Lamushal, you have people that are talking, and they're disturbing him, which is wrong in the first place. Number one, you don't talk in the shul during davening, and number two, when the daven Shemoneh Esrei, you're disturbing other people. We're so makbid you can't pass a person when he daven Shemoneh Esrei, even if he's far away, because you'll disturb his tefillah to talk. Mamish chutzpah. Not only that, especially when it comes Friday night, it's even a bigger chutzpah. I mentioned this many times. It says in Sefer Chassidim, it's quoted in the Torah, Simerai Samaches, and the Mishmir brings it. Sefer Chassidim brings that there were two friends, and after one friend died, and he came into the dream to his chava, and his chava asked him, "Lomel panechu merikos? Why is your face so green and yellow?" So he told him, number one, he didn't cut his nails before Shabbos, dirt on the nails. Then he said, "I used to talk Friday night after Shemoneh Esrei before Kaddish, before finishing Kaddish." Mishmir quotes that, the Torah says it. So therefore, Avada over there, once you finish Friday night the Shemoneh Esrei, you shouldn't be talking until after Kaddish, until the full Kaddish. But in general, person is talking, that's a time you shouldn't talk. You can make a noise with your mouth. No! Tell him, what are you doing? Disturbing. Don't tell him that. That you cannot say. You can make a noise that you're disturbing me. You could do the remez. Or a child is crying. You could do a remez in order to make him quiet. You could take a candy, talis, whatever. Whatever remez works to make him quiet. If that doesn't help, you could even change your place. Go away from that place, but not talking. So walking would be better than talking in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei.
If you change your place, do you do 3 steps or you just...
No, you just go to a new place. Take your sit along, go to a new place, and over there, hopefully you'll be more relaxed and more calm. So the same thing applies. If you have a child that's asking you in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei what to daven, and he's disturbing you, so you could show him where to daven. Use the pages, where remez, where to daven. Or the child is not davening, and he's disturbing you. Why isn't he davening? Boy, he's already 9-10 years old. He should be davening. You could do a remez, daven, if that disturbs your tefillah. If you have patience to wait and talk to him nicely after davening, why didn't you daven? Then you shouldn't stop. You shouldn't do a remez and the Shemoneh Esrei. Let's say if the child needs to go to the bathroom, and Milvio Shemoneh Esrei, Zanish wants paskin for his brother-in-law, then yes, you should take him to the bathroom. It's permitted to walk. Because otherwise he's Tati, I need to go. He's disturbing you, cannot daven. Even that would be allowed. Or another din. Person starts Shemoneh Esrei and he realizes he can't see the words of the Shemoneh Esrei. Or especially if it's Anaini and Atanis or other things, words that he's not used to, Alanism. You could take out his glasses from his pocket and put it on. Not a hefzik. It's a tzorich for davening. Let it be in his hand, let it be in the holder, no matter where it is, even in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. We'll be able to have better kavuna. You could take the siddur, pick up the siddur, pick up the machzeh. If his talis fell down with his yarmulke, you could pick up the yarmulke in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei. Talis must probably not, because you have to make a brucha when you put it on. You have to make a new brucha. Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't make any broken?
No, you cannot, don't pick it up.
Only if it goes completely.
If it's off completely, but if it bothers you, a talis on the floor, then pick it up, put it on the table. Or you could put it on and you'll make a brucha later, once he has it in the hand already. It's all about disturbing you, the tefillah. Again, if it's shloile tzorich, davening, he's not allowed to walk in the middle of davening. It's only because it's needed. Even if it's a lost moment. Let's say someone is ringing the bell, the telephone is ringing, and it's bothering me. I just cannot daven. It's taking away my concentration. Then, okay, then go ahead. Answer the door. Can't talk, but you can answer the door. The doorbell. Let's say they're starting to dichen, and he's standing in the wrong place. What does it mean, the wrong place? When the Kahanim dichen, then everybody should be behind the Kahanim, rather in the front of the Kahanim. And he's too much to the front of the shul, then he could, he could walk to the proper place where it should be. Now it does say that he shouldn't do it in middle of Shemoneh, he should do it in the middle of the Kainetzoy. I guess he'll try to say a little quicker the words of the Shemoneh that he should be able to do it by the Kainetzoy. It's achieving the Moshe. Person has a doubt in the middle of Shemoneh, he doesn't know what to do. Let's say the Mushli, he said the Kaila Kudosh, didn't say Melech Kudosh, or Sfadim, he said Melech Oyev Tzedukah Mishpat, you have to daven Shemoneh again, or he doesn't know what to do with Sayin Tanu Mutu Lebrucha, he said it in the summer, Sayin Brucha in the winter, all these shayris, we'll go through all this Metzshem. Mashrich Moed he said in the summer, and Maria told, he confused the Sfard, Ashkenaz, which Nisach does he daven, it makes a big difference, when you have to repeat Shemoneh again, he doesn't know what to do. So what do? He has Kashayla. Or go to the Srum Shafen and take a Mission Brira and take another Siddur that has information. It's Tzorich HaTfilah.
If somebody asks you a question, he asks you to say, Ya Levi Avo, you could go and listen.
If it doesn't disturb you, which it doesn't, and he will realize that he davened Shemoneh, or look in the Siddur and he sees, oh, I'm sorry, Shemoneh, normally he understands that and not answering for a good reason. So why?
He's about Shemoneh himself. He wants my teacher to say, Ya Levi Avo, so Shmodesh doesn't know, confused or right.
Then he would ask. Then he could ask.
Yeah.
To ask someone to daven Shemoneh, he should go over to a person who didn't start yet, who is the heir. Everybody's daven Shemoneh.
Have fun. You start.
So he's asking then if
it's part of the what's it like? A person wants to say Amotzi, it's passive salt. He's speaking also. It's part of the whole.
Telebrich. It's needed, but here it's different. It's not needed for him, it's needed for someone else.
All for one, all for all, Rebbe.
I'm not so sure about that, Judah.
I'm standing by the door and someone's banging on it. It's not bothering me, but the entire shul can't daven Shemoneh. Everybody's davening Shemoneh.
Why isn't it bothering you?
For whatever reason, I'm just not thinking of it. But I know it's bothering everybody else. Can I go change it? And everybody else is davening.
It's the same thing what he's saying.
It's very similar. Very similar. But that question, I would say, that could show in the Siddur, many Siddurim have the halachas, what they have to do. So instead of talking, you could show him the halacha, if he understands. You try anything and everything that you shouldn't have to talk a word during Shemoneh. See, even walking is better than talking. That's a hefsek. So be very careful. I'm not answering your question because should we say that, okay, he's saving other people, they shouldn't have, it's disturbing their kavuna. How do you know it's disturbing their kavuna? Just like it doesn't disturb you, maybe it's not disturbing others.
No.
And also, when you're davening Shemoneh Esrei, you shouldn't even hear the knocking on the door. This is very interesting. The Shliach Tzibur finished Shemoneh Esrei. After he finished Shemoneh Esrei, he cannot leave the Omid, where he's davening as the Chazan, until he steps back 3 steps. Meaning, when does he step back 3 steps? When he says Ashrei, Yevud Tzion, Kaddish Tiskabel, and he steps back 3 steps. Only then he could walk. Otherwise, he cannot walk. He has to say Tachne. He says Howl. And if someone else takes over the Howl, and if someone else takes over the Asher Livro Tzion, that's a din of Shachnurich. In Yerdaya Simishin Ayin Vov. The Ramu brings, it's not Nor Chaim, it's in Yerdaya. The Ramu brings that there's an oval, and he wants to go to the Omid as a Chazan Ashrei Yevud Tzion. Yes, he may do so. Take over the Chazan, will finish Shemoneh Esrei, and someone else will take over Ashrei Yevud Tzion. And he'll say the Kaddish Tiskabel. That means the Chazan will not say Oiseh Shulim B'Mnoimot. This is a major problem. If we are saying the Chazan cannot walk away only if he makes those 3 steps, and the 3 steps he does after Kaddish Tiskabel, and he gave it away to someone else, you see how, let's say if the Rav takes over many shuls, the Rav says Howl, and the Chazan goes back. So he's walking away and coming back, and he's saying Kaddish Tiskabel. Because that's a Kaddish, but he has to step back 3 steps. It belongs to the Baal Tefillah. And yet, someone else taking over. So if that happens, it says in the Achronim, at least he should say Yil Rutzen Imroi Fi. At least he should say that, and then walk away. At least that. So anytime there's such a situation where he's not going to say Kaddish Tiskabel, then at least he'll say the Yil Rutzen and then walk away.
What happens when the Kriyat Tefilos, the Chassid walks away before Asheron L'Tzir?
So whenever there's a mitzvah, Tachnen, Kriyas HaTorah, going to the bima for Kriyas HaTorah, whatever it is, that is allowed. It's all part of the davening. But if it's shloidet tzorich, just to walk out and do other things, that is not allowed. I'm not sure if the Chazonim are aware of it, about Tefilos. And you cannot stand walk after Shemoneh Esrei. That's why you realize the Chazan that davens the Shunim Kippur and he falls koidem, Hayolaini, Akehanim Buam, and the Mazuru, when they say that piece, and the Chazan falls by koidem, he tries not to move away from its spot. He stays on the same, when they help him get up, he's on the same spot, not to move away middle of Shemoneh Esrei. There's no need for it, to move away from the spot. I would like to see one more simon, very similar to this inyan. Let me see if we have enough time. I don't want to. Yeah, we have enough time. I want to finish this. There's a Gemara Masechtes Bruches. The Gemara says, Tefilos, we learned it recently in the Shia, that you cannot hold in your hand any object during davening. Let's start with Shemoneh Esrei. And the Primgudim adds, not only Shemoneh Esrei, Primgudim adds, Lav Dafke Shemoneh Esrei, even Kriyishma and B'sike de Zimra. And Mishmir quotes it. Tfilm, Sfurim, why? Because your mind is on the film that it shouldn't fall down. And when you daven, your full concentration has to be on the Shemoneh Esrei, and also Kirish Mafsik the Zimna. So not only holding on money, or holding that could fall down, or holding a chayfetz that could break, even chayfetzim that will not break, you shouldn't hold on to the Shemoneh Esrei. Yes, most Chanim say you are yoytze if you did it, but the Bach says you're not yoytze. So it's something very serious. We don't pass on the Bach, but there is a shitta that says in the Poskim that you're not yoytze if you daven with something in your hand. Eyeglasses. You wear the eyeglasses. If it's loose, make sure to make it tight. Otherwise, you're holding something that could fall down. It's disturbing your Shemoneh Esrei, because it might fall down any second. To hold the siddur and a marze, it says clearly in Shulchan Aruch that it's mitzvah to hold because you need it for tzorich davening. You have to see what to say, especially when there's payet, know it by heart. That's fine, and you could hold on. You could hold on to the siddur. Let's say a person started davening Shemoneh Esrei because he has a different siddur and he's not used to it and it's confusing him. It's mitzvah to take a different siddur. Go to that place where you know the Siddur Ma, not go look for it. Go to that place where the Siddur Ma and take a siddur to your liking, that it shouldn't disturb you during davening. Certain things you could hold. As Maya Chazal used to hold on to the Abba Minim all day. So if they hold on to the Abba Minim during Shemoneh Esrei, he's used to it, and he has it all day. Or let's say Yom Kippur, or he's saying the Tefilos of Shabbos Mevorchim, and the Chazan takes the Sefer Torah and he holds on to it. That's not a problem, because this is part of the Tefillah and it comes that way. So it doesn't disturb you. Adrabah, you're asking for it. This is what you always do. That's fine. But other than that, let's say another din. Chulila, tefillin fell down on the floor in the middle of Kriya Shema. How do you would pick it up? Because otherwise it would disturb your davening. You won't be able to daven properly. How can I leave a sefer on the floor? To bring a child in shul, if the child is below the age of sitting in the shul quietly, I'll use the word it's also to bring the child to shul. Why is it also? You're doing something, you're starting Shemoneh Esrei, you know he's going to disturb you. And to bring yourself in a matzav where you're going to have to do things in the middle of Shemoneh Esrei, no, you're not doing the proper cheshbonos. Or holding a child in the hand doing Shemoneh Esrei, clearly it's also in the Chazal, in Shulchan Aruch. And I'll conclude. Cell phones. Cell phones, to bring into shul cell phone, that's not an off. If it's not an off, it's mamish osa. Why is it osa? Because your mind is every minute on the phone. Is someone calling me? Forget about if the ringer is on. And not only you're disturbing yourself, you're disturbing other people as well. But if you have a cell phone in shul, many shuls have a sign, close your cell phone. Many shuls have lakas, put it in lakas. That means you're not talking to the shechina, because in the back of your mind, you also have the cell phone. And someone's phone rang. Is it my phone? You ruined the tefillah. How can a person daven with such a lack of kavuna? Definitely miss many Hashems that he doesn't have kavuna, and he'll miss many bruchas that he's just saying because he's used to saying these words. So these issues we have to take really serious in consideration. There's a kol koide, a post that came out many years ago, how long is cell phones? A few years ago, with many Rubunim signed to what we're saying now, that it's also to have a cell phone on in the shul. So I'm not saying you should close it on off completely, put the ringer on, not even vibration, it's the same thing. The ringer has to be totally off during davening. See, I'll never tell a person Now, you have a bang on the table, your cell phone is ringing, because he's embarrassed. Embarrass him more, what do you gain? He'll close his ringer. But it shouldn't have been on in the first place, and even that I wouldn't tell him, because sometimes you forget to close your ringer before you go into shul. It happened to me sometimes. Oh, I forgot to close the ringer and the phone rang. So, this should be publicized. Not making any takunis in the shul or a rule, this has to be done, but a person should know by himself, on his own, that this is something that disturbs davening. It's not allowed in the shul, there's no reason for it. And I should hope that all our tools should be in iskabel, rachme v'rutzen. If we comply with these haluchas, definitely we saw bruchas from the Bnei B'chai and many other sfurim, Tefilos are answered in such way.